Right, today's video is on how England has changed, how London has changed from growing up. So this is just my perspective on London. Now, I grew up in London. I was born in East London. I've said this before. I was born in Hackney. It was an area of East London. And then from there, I moved to South Africa for a bit, and then I moved back, and then I went to Hounslow, which is in West London. So I lived in West London and I lived in East London. I lived in both. Now, for someone growing up in the UK as a mixed race person, there was a lot of racism. Like, there's been a lot of racism towards people who aren't white, basically. Like, if you grow up in the UK and you're not white, then there is racism towards you. It doesn't matter if you're Indian or black or Chinese or Latino or whatever, like, if you're not white. So yeah, growing up in the UK, there was a lot of that. But to be fair, it didn't really affect me because I was always someone who used to talk to everyone, and I even got invited to parties where everyone was white. I got invited to black parties, Asian parties. I was always invited to like different events. So to me, it didn't really affect me too much. But growing up in the UK, it's very sort of football heavy. Like, everyone loves football. There's the Premier League, which is one of the biggest leagues in the world. We got Chelsea, we got Manchester United, Manchester City, we got Leicester. We got, so many teams, so many great footballers, you know what I mean? And growing up in London, a lot of my friends support Brentford or Chelsea or supported like other football teams. Now, I didn't really care too much about football personally, but because I grew up in the UK, even in lunchtime and break time, the teachers would have football games on the TV. Like, we could literally watch a football match on the TV if we wanted to. We even had school trips to like football stadiums and stuff like that. So I was very involved in like football culture. If that makes sense? But yeah, so in London growing up, it's one of the most expensive cities in Europe. London and Paris are like the most expensive cities in Europe. So, growing up in that kind of condition, there was a lot of stealing, like a lot of petty crime of people just stealing stuff like food or snacks or crisps or chocolate or whatever, because people can't afford things, you know what I mean? And things are pricey. And like the pound value is stronger than the dollar. So like the pound value is actually stronger than dollar, stronger than euro, which means things are extremely expensive. So growing up in a society like that, stealing and these things become a regular basis. Is which why now there's so many CCTV cameras everywhere. It's actually one of the most controlled cities in the world. Like Shenzhen, China's got more cameras, but the UK is catching up. You know what I mean? The UK is catching up with the amount of cameras that they're putting everywhere and surveillance and all these things and digital IDs. And I'm gonna go into all of that in a bit. But yeah, when it comes into like growing up in the UK, how London has changed, it's really changed by crime getting more worse. Been a lot more crime, a lot more people. Population has grown crazy. I've kind of spoken about this in another video, but what I mean by that is the fact that with America, Australia, other countries, there's a lot more space. So you don't feel it as much. But when the population grows and you're in a very small island, England is an island, you can't build more land. You know what I mean? Like, it's an island country where that means that when you're United Kingdom surrounded by water, there is nowhere else to grow. You know what I mean? So then that's why parking gets out of control. People can't find anywhere to park. You can't find anywhere to actually, rest your vehicle or when you're trying to go somewhere. And it becomes a very sort of thing where there's too many people, too many cars, too much, population isn't really controlled or managed very well, which means that, houses become more expensive, food becomes more expensive, things become saturated markets. Like, you'll see music videos all shot in the same location. Let's say like 5, 6 music videos shot in the same car park, in the same location, with the same backdrop, in the same music studios, because there isn't enough space to do everything. And that's really the kind of thing with the UK market. Is it's very competitive because you have like a small amount of shops, a small amount of leeway. So yeah, growing up in the UK, it's kind of like a thing of like crime mixed with culture of football, lots of pubs, lots of drinking. It's kind of that kind of culture. Now, I don't know in America if they got like a different kind of culture, because I've been in America, but I haven't like lived in America, you know what I mean? But yeah, if I'm living in UK, I would say that, it's really a case of just, like crime getting out of control. But it's understandable. You have so many people in the country where everyone's trying to make the same money, everyone's trying to, one up each other. And then it's like you get into this really competitive mindset. And this is why I feel like UK, France, and Germany are the leaders in Europe. Like, they're in the G7, they're the leaders of Europe, and they're like some of the most powerful countries in Europe. But because of that, you have more government control, you have more regulations, you have more sort of, everyone's trying to like climb to the top. And it's good. Like, I'm not saying that that's not good to be competitive. You want to be competitive in the world, but at the same time, by doing that, it causes more crime, it causes more chaos. Like, I've been stabbed myself, I've had friends die, rest in peace. I've seen a lot of dark stuff in the city. And this is the thing, is that everyone has this idea of London's like this great city, and you got the Big Ben and London Eye and the Queen and royalty. But then where people actually live, like when you step out of central London and you go to areas where people actually live on a day-to-day basis, working, eating, sleeping, repeating, that is where you really see the crime. That is where you see the madness, and you see the madness of the city, because it's so congested, where it's like there's so many people in so many areas where you're going to have people arguing over religion, over culture, over values. And this is the problem with London, is that London has changed and it's become more and more diverse, which is good as someone who's mixed race, Asian and black. But then at the same time, because of that, it creates more issues, because everyone's trying to build their religious building, and then everyone's trying to, control it of, oh no, this is our city, no, this is our city. And obviously different values align with different people, which can cause issues. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's kind of the thing, is it's like a lot of divide between different kinds of people, because everyone's trying to fight over the same area. But it's like this whole area, we don't own it at the end of the day. Even when you buy a property in the UK, you own it for 999 years, because technically it's owned by the royal family. Like the royal family actually own England. So technically when you buy a property, it's still technically yours, yes, but the land is still owned by them. If that makes sense. Like I don't think you have that in America. But yeah, it's not a land of the free kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot. And also we don't have a Second Amendment, but there's a lot of weapons. Like people have this idea that like in England people don't have weapons, but that is false. Like I am telling you, most people are strapped up. Most people have weapons. Like it's not a thing that people don't. No. People don't show them, but people do have them. Like trust me, if you go to like East London, West London, people have weapons that people are ready. Do you know what I mean? But you just don't see it, or the news doesn't try to talk about it too much because they don't want it to sound like America. But it is true. Like that's another one that's kind of like a misconception about UK. People think like people just be stabbing. No, there's a lot of shooting as well. So yeah, there's actually a nightclub literally just got shot up recently. Mango nightclub, you can search it, got shot up recently. But yeah, this is what's like growing up in the UK is really like. I might do a part 2 if you guys want to know about that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my videos, and I'm going to be posting daily, and I just really hope that you guys enjoy the videos and the content, and you take care and have a great day, honestly.